Welcome back to your favorite show, What's Your Sankalp, with your hosts, Monica and Sankalp.
In today's episode, we're in conversation with a travel couple. If you want to learn some travel hacks, not just any travel hacks, some smart travel hacks, this episode is for you. And if you want to learn if you can apply for global entry as an Indian international, this episode is for you. And
I forgot mine. I've been trying to think. 1 second. What did I say? Ram?
success.
Okay. Yeah. Is there a formula to becoming a successful content creator? Watch this episode to find out.
All right, so formal introductions, of course. Welcome to our podcast show. What's your Sankalp? I was trying to figure out what is the right way to kick this off, start, but I think we should begin with the congratulations, right?
Yes,
and there's
absolutely.
so many things that we have to congratulate you guys, and hopefully the listeners who don't already know yet what you guys have been up to in this year and recently. So to begin with, congratulations on your big wedding.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We have a couple of newlyweds on our show, which is the first.
So like I said, that's the first thing on your plate, right? The second thing, of course, is your new house and your new beautiful house with a wall in the back, the backdrop, and everything. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
And it doesn't end there, right? The third, of course, is Chaitra celebrating her birthday recently. So happy birthday.
Getting old.
I actually had a fun game to start off with. I have two hats for you. One being Fomo, the fear of missing out. Let's see who gets that hat. And the second being the OCD hat, who is very specific, to the content that is being put on Instagram or your blog or YouTube, anywhere. It has to be this way. It has to be this hashtag. So,
even while traveling, we always know that in a couple, there's one person who plans everything to a T,
Yeah.
and there's one who just sort of flows, just comes along with the bags.
Yeah. By Fomo, I mean, like, obviously you'll have a billion things to check off from your list, places to visit, and things to do. But who's the one, who's laid back and, who's like, oh, okay, we did these things. Let's, relax for now. That should be enough. Yeah.
So between us, he's the planner, and which is why he gets the maximum FOMO, because he'll have a list of 10 things and 10 places he want to experience. And if something is missed out, he's like, do we have time tomorrow to do it? I'm like, no, we don't. Like, just get over it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm the one who always has a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And then if we've already done things with plan A, I'll be like, I think we can do plan B, start putting things. And
That's
at
clear.
one point, I think she started to speak up saying, you know what, we cannot do it. Okay.
Yeah.
She's been nice in the initial years, so she's like, okay, we'll do this. And then we are running for a flight on the last. And after one point, she's like, you know what, we'll stick to the plan. And if we both decide we want to do anything from the next things in the list, only then we'll go for it. Okay.
Right.
That's me. The one.
So if you would have seen one of those reels where like one of them is shown as a planner, and then like the wife is just strolling around to the airport.
Exactly.
That's me. Like
Okay.
maybe on the flight, I'll ask him, okay, so what's the plan? Like, what are we doing?
No, she will ask me the day before because she wants to pack. So
Oh,
she wants
yeah.
to make sure she has the right shoes and
Right.
the right clothes. So she would ask me, what is the plan like? Tell me.
So I can pack accordingly. Like
Yeah.
that's
I get it. Mauni calls that as a passenger princess,
Yeah.
who just sits next to you.
I love that job. Like, it's
Yeah.
a full-time job because we have to help with the directions and we have to pack our clothes so that we
Yeah.
look nice in the photos.
By helping with directions, you mean in the last second you'll be like, you have to take a left, and then I do a drift, and then I take that turn. So not much helpful, Mauni.
I feel you.
I want to ask you guys how it all started, like where this journey began, and what was that moment which made you feel like, you both sat down as a couple and decided that, we're going to do this, like we're going to go for it. What was that one moment? Or was it a couple of events that happened, consequentially, and then you felt like this is the thing for us?
So yes, where did Mad Over Exploring start? So how it started was actually, as I told you, Chai moved to the States and she was in Florida and I was here in Maryland. So we traveled to places where we could meet in between, like, Savannah, or we would go to New York, or she would come here, or I would go down to Florida. So with that, our fondness for traveling grew because we would meet. We are trying to meet, but we're also traveling.
Right.
So that's how we grew our fondness. But at one point in 2018 or so, I was posting stories and like posts from wherever we would visit, and friends and family would ask us for like itineraries and, oh, where was that? Can you share more details about it? So I loved writing. So I thought I'll just put out a blog where I could put all my thoughts, like the itineraries, any travel tips, what is the plan I'm following, everything. So that's what I did. And she was involved from day one, not just helping me put that blog out, but also being the one who came up with the name Mad Over Exploring. So she was the one, she gets the credit. And I put it out there. And all my friends were like, visiting it. I had traffic from different places. But in 2020, when she moved to Maryland, and 2019 she moved, and in 2020, when the pandemic hit after a few months, she had a very valuable insight as I was just thinking about where would Mad Over Exploring go. And I'll let you share that insight.
So as for me, I've never been a big reader. For me, YouTube vlogs and Instagram posts have been the most captivating kind of content. So I just shared an idea with him that, you should try to cater to those kind of audiences as well. And what do you think of making YouTube videos? Because he always had his GoPro on him, so I knew that he had this itch for recording his travel as well. And that's when, around in June of 2020, we thought of starting off our YouTube channel together. And we changed the name of his personal account to Mad Over Exploring and joined forces as well.
And then very shortly after, I think Reels took off, because so Instagram started becoming more of a video app. We were never and are still not much of a TikTok user. But I think we just realized that whatever we have to share with other travelers, that they can use our tips or like itineraries, we just thought putting it on Instagram and on YouTube as short form content and long form content respectively is going to help reach more people and help more people out. So that's how our journey continued.
I was just wondering, because at that point, written media wasn't very, in trend, as they say, or like Chai said, like a lot of people don't want to read blogs at that point. But it's wonderful that you were so passionate about it and you just went for it.
If you see our Instagram reels and the posts, like all the captions in there are all written by me. So to be honest, it wasn't like I just felt like I had so much to share, and at that point I thought long form written content is a blog, and so blog kind of became my first mode of expressing those ideas.
It must be. Is it difficult to maintain multiple content platforms as such? How do you, I mean, it's the same content in a way, but it's in a different format, right?
Presented differently, right?
I think organization goes a long way. If we, like, for example, even on Instagram, as Moni was saying, that when you want to travel and or probably you're already there, you're not going to open up and try to find that. So what we try to do is, it's not just entertainment or information, but it's infotainment. And how do you organize it? So like we try to use the highlights where they can easily find something that they've done or we've done, I mean. Or they can go to the IG guides, where even though I am itching to write a blog, what I found out is whatever I'm writing in the caption, an IG guide kind of puts it all together. So now we have a Maldives guide, we have a Sequoia National Park guide or a Yosemite National Park guide. So all of the things that we posted in captions are now available on fingertips. So yeah, as she said, I'm itching to go back to blogging a little bit so I can put it out there. But I still know that there is a place where people can find it.
This question is difficult to ask, and I don't know if the answer is equally difficult. Is there a formula or template or some kind of a niche that you think that you guys figured out that will help you click? Is also the second part to that question is that something you focus on, reaching larger audience, like views and viewership is something of is a goal for you, or is it just putting content out there wholeheartedly and let the Instagram algorithm do its tricks? Did you guys figure out any formula as such that will probably help someone who's starting out there, listening to this, okay, this doing this and this? I know the answer to this question is somewhat about consistency, right? Putting content out there consistently wherever you do it, and do it probably everywhere you can. Consistently doing that over a period of time will probably help reaching that, that viewership and audience and everything. But what do you guys have to say about finding that, little formula to success?
I don't think there's a set formula, because even if there was and we figure it out, it would change after 6 months, because as like Instagram, TikTok, all of these apps, they are gonna change things depending on user behavior, and humans are fickle. That's the reality of it, as we were just discussing. People read blogs, people watch video content, sometimes they like pictures. So I think what we have mainly focused on, which is not a formula, but more like a principle,
Right.
is be organic and share what we truly believe in, and in a
Right.
format that we ourselves would enjoy consuming. So that would be like, even if like Instagram does not really boost pictures that much, we love
Right.
putting some photo dumps out once in a while, because pictures give me that opportunity to make the reader or a viewer go to the caption more, which
Right.
a reel may not. So if I have something that's lengthy or something that's more detailed which could help somebody, we might decide to put a post, and then the reels definitely have a better reach. So she can talk more about like how reels have a better reach.
Yeah, I remember us creating our first reel. We barely knew what we were doing, and people on Instagram were already putting these like beautiful reels out there because they had that knowledge from TikTok. And I think for us, it has and will always be like a continuous learning curve to see what other creators are doing and learn from them and see, oh, you know what, this was an interesting take or a hook in their reel. Let's try to recreate it ourselves. I think the community is pretty collaborative, and everyone likes to use each other's ideas. So I think just being able to do that, as he said, organically and just trying different things, and something will work and something won't work. But I feel we haven't ever focused that, this should reach like a certain number. We just put it out there with the hope, as you may have seen, like most of the captions do have some value that we provide to our audiences, if it could be related to that destination or just any general travel smart tip that we may have. And I think as long as that value is out there and it helps even one person, I think that's the main goal for us.
I think the word that you used as hook, that you take from someone else, but it's not exactly a copy, right? That
It's
you do.
inspiration.
Yeah, it's an inspiration, and then you're adding the Che and Sunkist touch to it, and then you're making it your own, right? Which is not a bad thing. It's still very unique and authentic, like you're saying, but
which brings me to, was it always like this? Or, initially when we're starting out, I know that we can get so consumed by the numbers and the analytics that it shows, the insights and the data. So at what point did you guys feel like it was worth doing what you're doing? Like, were the numbers like a huge sign for you, or did you just at some point say, we don't care about the numbers, we're just going to keep doing this just because we enjoy it? But I'm sure, at some point you look at the data, right? And it's important that what we're doing is worth, sharing with people. So what was that point for you guys?
because there's some kind of a motivation that you also get, right? Even though you're doing this wholeheartedly, there's that little push you still need from
or how the audience receives it.
Yeah.
So I think there have been days when we've been like, is this worth pursuing and all? And every time, I think what pushes us, initially, like as I told you, before I answer that question, I'll say initially when I put out the blog, it was my friends reading it, right? And then a few of other people have discovered. But really, when strangers or people who are following us, but we don't know them, they started messaging us saying, they started messaging us saying, we went to this trip that you had suggested, this destination, we really loved it. Or we did this experience, or thanks for that parking tip. It really smoothened my cherry blossom viewing because I could just walk right out there. So that's what really, motivates us, like makes our day when somebody messages us something like this. And that's what keeps us going.
I mean, you literally said like one thing out of the few tips that we give, but people have also messaged us saying that I copied your itinerary completely, and it was a blast. I think that's a bigger win for me because yes, I put all that effort and put in that YouTube video together, and you copied.
Time you're saving in somebody's life because you guys have a prepared itinerary, and so anyone can just look at it and follow it blindly, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the goal, and if the goal gets fulfilled, then we are just happy and like makes us go for another one.
And that being said, yes, the numbers do help and motivate, and I feel like even when we crossed 1,000 followers, we're like, okay, this is amazing, and each milestone just makes us happy. But I don't think that number is something that will determine us that okay, now we have reached the peak.
At the end of the day, we both always remember that it's not the more people you can reach, but it's people who we've already reached, and how can they get value from us. So like for a random example, if there's like 48,000 right now followers, we want to satisfy like why did they follow us, and if they followed us, are they getting, rather than that extra 52 that can get us to 100K. who don't even know about what they want from us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What an interesting perspective,
That's a
right?
good one.
Yeah.
I think I get lost in trying to get those extra followers or whatever, trying to create content, focusing on that, the future. But you are focusing on people who trusted and gave their follow to you and your page, and that is something you have to respect first
Yeah.
before you cater to the audience that didn't even come yet, right?
Exactly.
So that is beautiful. I hope someone takes that away as well. I took it away. So all right, if you're enjoying the episode so far, please make sure that you follow our podcast show on Spotify, Apple Music, and all other podcast streaming platforms. But if you're on YouTube,
Don't forget to like our episode and comment on it, and also subscribe to our channel.
all right, let's get straight to it. Let's start with I want to call this Travel Smart 101, which is for newbies and people who are starting off, traveling and all those kind of stuff. What are the tips and tricks that you guys have for them? Because it's not only about booking your tickets in advance, right? That's like the very basic thing someone can do. Book your tickets, and it's sort of becoming impossible to predict your plans like that, right? Because things change over time and you can't really plan for a trip 3 months from now, right? Because there's so many other things that you need to also take care of, work or other commitments. So what are the other ways that people can travel smart, save those dollars and be more efficient in their travel?
Yeah, just like your top go to like three, hacks that you would like tell someone starting off.
Nice question. I'll have to think.
There's so many of them. I'm trying to think how to condense it into like top three. I think top one, at least top from the three, the one of them that we've been focusing much right now is every dollar you spend on anything, not just travel expenses, but grocery, a Costco haul, or gas, or anything, actually can be converted into a point or a mile that can be used towards free travel potentially.
Right.
Now, how much of it can be used towards what exactly are details that really require spending more time learning that, but at least that awareness that this can get me some free travel is important. And that's what we realized after we started traveling. So I think that's like my number one, that there are credit cards out there, programs out there that you can enroll in, where everything you spend on can be converted into a point or mile that can be used towards traveling.
But Sunkist, I have a follow-up question. You can call me dumb or stupid asking me this, but when I think of those point system and everything, I feel like it's a ripoff. Because
we're not used to it.
Yeah, because why are they doing this for us, right? Like, how is that really helpful? Are those points really helpful? Because that means I have to travel as much, right? I have to have those many trips in an year to get those many points, to use those points again for another trip. So that's how the flow goes, right? So is it really that beneficial as such, or is it just a marketing, kind of a tactic to get people to
I think what you're talking about is just the simple miles that you earn when you take a flight. But the first point that he mentioned was basically how can you earn more points by simply using your credit card and not even like spending in like only for something that's travel focused, maybe just doing a Costco haul that just like cost you $300, because that's what happened with us last time. So just those big expenses could give you points. Let's say we spent $300 but we earned 600 points, and now we can easily take a domestic flight with those points. And I think that's where we feel that it is not a ripoff, and we just have to smartly gauge what's the best benefit for me in that scenario.
I think responsibility goes a long way over there. It's like, think of it like not travel insurance, just life insurance or like health insurance, for example. How is health insurance really making money? It's making money of people who do not fall ill as much, but make money of them. Same way, credit card companies are making money of those who will default and not make payments, and now they're paying interest on those payments. So that's how, as long as you are responsible and understand how much you want to spend. So we are not talking about spending more to try to get those perks and like benefits. What we are saying is you are going to be spending on something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To make a strategy especially if you're in a relationship with your partner where you both travel together, whether you're married or not. That also is an important strategy that a lot of travel couples follow. Like one person making a card for hotels, but the other person making a card for an airline. So it really goes hand in hand. What's your credit card strategy that can earn you all those things with your existing expenses?
I love that you mentioned that, because it truly is teamwork, right? At the end of the day, that has made Mad Over Exploring what it is today. It started off as a love story. I love that they used to visit each other, and that's how it all began. But coming to the other like hacks, I want to now direct the question towards couples traveling. Like, how is it different now that you're married, or that you travel as a couple versus when you both were making your independent trips? Like, are there any hacks that you would give specifically for couples?
I think so. I wasn't much of a traveler back in India. Broke kid from school, just finishing his engineering, and now decided to go for his master's. So never really got an opportunity to travel beyond like a 30-kilometer radius from the city. But she used to travel with her parents. But when we got together here in the US, we realized we both have some overlapping interests, of course, but some individual interests as well. Like I'm more of an outdoorsy person. I would love to go out, hike, be in the outdoors camp, or do something or the other. National parks, I'm a big fan of those. And she would be the one who would like to go to like urban cities where there's like really nice food options, so the cityscape, skyline, and all of that stuff.
Something more classical.
So I think the balance that we both bring to each other, that exposes each other to new experiences, that's something we could advise couples who want to travel together, that be open to your partner's interests and don't try to do a common thing that you both like. Instead, try to do those other things, because that would be your only opportunity to do it. You wouldn't, like Chai wouldn't
I don't think, like, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have enrolled in the Wave lottery, and I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to do it. I think that must have been the hike so far that I would have been the most excited for. And even I don't know how I did that 3-mile hike, and even he's surprised. But 7 mile, but we just did it because it was just so exciting. And I think just being open to what the other person like. And Sankesh also.
I would say, like, I wouldn't really go to a paint class, but I did with her and sipped on wine, and we made some paintings, or taken a food tour, because I know she really loves like different variety of food in different places. So we kind of did that. So that would be my advice, I would say.
I think to summarize it, obviously we can relate to it, right? But to summarize what you guys said, I think having a partner in such kind of situations is not about doing the most comfortable thing. It's like the most uncomfortable thing that you guys can think of for the other person, which will, come naturally for me, but not for her, right? So I think that's what...
This reminds me of, Sunday mornings when I want to, sleep in, and this person's all like Sankesh, like very outdoorsy. Like, as soon as he sees the sun through the windows, he'll be like, come on, let's go for a walk right now, And slowly, like Chai is, thanking him. I have thanked Sankalp on multiple occasions. I'm like, if you wouldn't have pushed us to do this, then, I wouldn't have had this opportunity.
Absolutely. Like I said, doing uncomfortable things with your comfortable person is something that helps as a couple, right? So that's a good takeaway for people out there, who are trying to figure out if that's something two people can do it together, right? Sometimes it becomes an idea or a goal of one person, right? And it's difficult to figure out what the other person can do in that plan of his or hers, right? So that's a nice takeaway. So global entry, that's something you guys also mentioned about in your content. Would you like to give a 101 about how best people can use it, as more specifically for people coming from India, if they're eligible for it, and the timeline of how long it takes if you apply for it today? Is it a crazy timeline?
It is, especially for countries that like sorry, I take that. At least for India, I know that at this point there's a lot of steps in it.
Right.
Just the global entry process for an American out here is like a 3-step process. But that 2A, B, C, like there's a long list of things that happen and things that you don't have control over. So even if you fill up the application, there's something called conditional approval that you will get after you've filled up your application, even gone for submitting your documents to VFS as a resident of India or a citizen of India, now a resident in the US. The biggest challenge is that when your application goes to India, and it's under background checking,
Background verification.
background verification. So that's where you have no idea what's going on. Like, is it just sitting in an office somewhere, or is it really going through different stages? And we've applied towards the end of last year, and we are still waiting on our application on the conditional approval. Once we get the approval, then I just have to take that and book an appointment over here, and then do an interview.
And I feel like it's totally worth the wait, because the benefits of having a global entry allows Indian nationals and some citizens of countries who also qualify to apply for it the ability to just breeze through the customs security check as soon as you land in the country, because many of us may have faced those super long lines, and after traveling for over 20 hours, like, you don't want to be standing there for an hour just to get through it, and that could be a nerve-wracking process. And if you feel like you can easily qualify for it and you can get it, we'd say why not? Like, what do you have to lose after applying for it? Just wait for it, and once it's done, the process just becomes a breeze, and it's just another travel hack that just helps you save time, because eventually time is also money, and that's something that we focused on with our reel, that not many people knew that Indian nationals are eligible for this program, and we just wanted to put it out there that yes, you can, and even save on those $100 by smart travel hack by having the right credit card.
Yeah, and the other reason I'll just add on to this is like, even if we don't really do international travel as much in a year, for a given year, we might do domestic travel. So the added perk of having a global entry is you can also get TSA pre-check with that. So that accelerates your security when you are trying to board your domestic flight at the airport. So I think I'm actually more excited for that, because we do more of domestic travel. So things are going to be like speed up real quick for us then.
This is something huge, and I want as many people out there to get this, because it's very, very helpful. And like Chaitra mentioned, that many of you guys who are stuck in those long immigration lines or whatever, by that you meant me, because I got stuck and I missed my flight recently. And I could watch I could watch the other people who have global entry, passport control, and those kind of special access. They just went around us, those 5-6 queues of line, and I'm just watching them. Because imagine those 5 people who went ahead of me. If they didn't exist, maybe I would have made my flight, right? So that happened. So yeah, I guess whoever needs to hear this, and you should definitely go apply for it whenever it comes. It'll help you in some point of your life, right?
Can I ask, which this brings me to being an Indian, like coming to a new country and learning how to travel smart must have been a huge challenge, right? Like, what about, have you ever faced any cultural shocks, or something which you weren't really prepared for? Because even today, like when we're going out, you know that people receive things differently. It's not the country that you've been born and brought up in.
Like, very specific example on what Moni is saying is, like, let's say, for example, you're taking a picture or a video of a place, and it's usually not empty, right? There are people around here, right? There's someone also being
especially
captured.
the touristy spots.
Exactly. There's someone else being captured in that frame, and which is not okay with many of them, and most of them, right? It's their personal space. So is that one of those, cultural, not cultural, maybe, things that people should always look out for, when, doing content as such?
So when we started creating content with more intention, that was within the US, where we traveled to different states. And I would say surprisingly, and in a good way, we did not face any difficulty being coming from a different cultural background. And I felt like most of the places that we went, people were very warm and inviting. And when we started, there wasn't a lot of crowd because the pandemic was still going on. So we were just very fortunate to have many empty locations. And as the crowd did start building up, I think when you are capturing a selfie or any video in a crowded place, I feel everyone kind of knows that you are being captured, and it's okay, because you cannot take a selfie without 10 people at a touristy spot. I think that just happens. And I think most of the people are respectful as well, to just like step away. Like, if they aren't comfortable, to just step away. I think that's the nice part, that I feel everyone knows that whatever you shoot kind of goes on the gram. And people are open. But we did have an experience, a different experience when we were in Switzerland. We went to this shop which had like this beautiful woodwork being done, and I was like, this is so beautiful, and like, let me capture it. So I instantly took out the GoPro and I wanted to shoot it, and the shop owner said that, not everything has to go on the internet. And we were like, okay, no problem. So we just turned it off and just enjoyed it for our eyes. So at the same time, like if someone is vocal about sharing that, no, you know what, I'm not okay with it, we are very respectful about that and we wouldn't put that. So yeah, I think our experience has just been very good so far. And as long as we enjoy and respectfully capture the content that we're doing, I don't feel like anyone had a problem with it.
Yeah,
What
not
do
so
you think?
far, hopefully. But talking about the culture shocks, that was a good part of like for the first part of your question. I think I think I can take this opportunity to talk about the reverse culture shocks, because after coming here, we kind of, I would say, like got pampered with the conveniences and the comforts of like, oh, now let's rent a car. Like I think I was in college, I would rent a zip car for $9 or $8 or $6 an hour and just go for a long drive in the night. So like you get used to those things, but when you travel back to India, I see a lot of advancement every time I go. Oh, now this app is available. But one thing every time it gets me is the number of times I have to show my boarding pass when I'm traveling in India, domestic or internationally. And like you have to enter the airport, you have to show the boarding pass to check in. Then at the security, then like heading towards the gate, somewhere there's a security control or something. You show it over there. Even when you're on the jetway and you are about to board the flight,
They check.
They want to check it. Like, so it's a funny thing we always discuss, and whoever we discuss this with, they just agree right away. So I don't know if you guys have also experienced this, but it always cracks us up. Yeah, it's more of a reverse culture shock to answer your question.
There's a question I want to ask about the reality of it, if I can call that. I know you guys, how authentic and true you try to stay on your social media, and the question that I wanted to ask is how difficult it is to do a 9 to 5 and also to do all these, travel and also put it out there, not just travel, right? Also put it out there as content and then do that editing and, promotions and all those kind of, aftermath of, that event, right?
Yeah, like does it fully consume you, or there are days when you just feel like burnt out, like it's just way too much, we've been doing this over and over, it gets repetitive?
Yeah, have you been able to figure out like, okay, I can do this between these hours, work with my job? You said working remotely, it helps, doing other things in life, but still it gets difficult, right? And it's not about just traveling, right? For you guys, it's also about putting content afterwards, right? So what's been working for you guys?
So when we started in 2020, we were constantly learning as we were creating content. And as I previously mentioned, that Sunkist has a FOMO of not of missing out on a specific place that we've been to. So initially it was a challenge to just make sure that we get there on time, capture content like maybe for a post, reel, YouTube, and then have some time to enjoy. But now we have to like maybe we may not even have that time to enjoy, and now we have to go to the next spot because it's in the list. So just based on that experience, we were able to retrospect after every trip and be like, this is what worked, this is what didn't work for us, and maybe this is what we could do better. And after that, I think that plan B of ours kind of comes out, where it's okay, let's just enjoy the time we have right now at this place after we've done shooting the content we have, and it's okay to skip the next thing that we have on the list.
And I think even like early on, like we've been traveling even before like we started posting and Mad exploring, right? So we've been doing that piece. Now the content creation was the extra time that we had to allot to. And over time, so initially it was a challenge because you don't have those skills. Like we don't shoot like when we were not posting content, we never shot in thinking about the aesthetics, thinking about the angles, thinking about, oh, should I pan or should I zoom in?
You shot for your memories, right?
Shot for your memories. And at that point, when we started to think we have to do this, we faced like a little bit of like a steep learning curve. So in terms of content creation, as well as after coming back, we had to now set aside time for content editing and publication, publishing. So at one point, like, of course, we were feeling like, oh my God, there's so much to do.
Yeah.
But I think, what do you think? Over time?
I think over time, like at least when we were renting and we just like then were in a space like, okay, fine, we went on a vacation, we got back 9 to 5, do your job, then now get to the things that we put on the calendar that today a reel is going to go out, and parallelly we work on the YouTube video. But life also happens. We bought a home, and then our time got invested in other things, and our priorities change. And I feel for us, we have that understanding that that's okay. Like we know that things may not always be, or like we may not always be in our comfort zone, and sometimes we have different challenges to face. So
Right.
just being aware and just being okay with it is
Yeah.
something that we realized that, you know what, it's okay that this week we were just able to put out one reel because we had 10 other things to do and just get it done.
And
And
it goes back to our principle of we want to put out quality, and like we want to help each other, help other travelers out there with the quality of our work and not the frequency.
Yeah.
So we don't really want to hook people for the
Right.
number of reels they're getting, but if they're getting one, it's really valuable and that can help them. So that's something that makes us feel okay about, even if then there are difficult weeks, it's okay to step away from it.
Yeah.
And
There's a couple of
I was-
takeaways that I had from what they said. One was learning, right?
Yeah.
Even for us, over time, it has helped so much because now you have templates, right? You can just use those templates, and in between those templates, you put new content that's happening in your life, right?
Yeah.
So that makes things easier, and you're working smart and not hard anymore, right?
Yeah.
That's been a takeaway that we had.
And
Yeah.
and other than like media learning, I wanted to highlight, I mean, if it's not too personal to ask, because I know traveling as a couple is stressful sometimes. You know, you have moods, you have arguments, you have discussions, and that affects, you know, the travel time.
Also,
And-
because these are the most important years, all the years that happen henceforth are also important, but these are, you know, very young years
Very
of our
prime
life.
years,
Yeah,
yeah.
prime years, and it's important for you as a couple as well, right? Those memories that you have, does it also take a toll on each other and your relationship in the, you know, in this web of, you know, doing things out there?
Yeah, like does that ever, you know, do the two ever get mixed? And obviously, because you're not just working partners, you're
If it helps
also
you,
life
yeah,
partners,
yeah,
right?
if it helps you guys, it does take a toll on us. That's why we want to ask the same
No,
question
no,
back.
that's the
I
thing,
think
but
that's natural,
that's
right?
natural, and it's not about like whether it takes a toll or not, but it's like from that experience, how much do you value ensuring that does not happen again, or finding a plan. So that's
Right.
something that we both like. We are very organized in the sense, like as she said, we want to put out on the calendar what are we going to put next.
And that's something
And-
we even learned to do because we were disorganized before. And
Right.
then like, okay, how do we now organize ourselves?
Yeah, same way as I think one of the questions we answered where she mentioned that I want to do a lot. And then she's like, no, if this is going to happen, then we won't be able to enjoy. So I took that feedback, and then, we decided not to do so much, but instead just savor each experience. So it's more about like as a couple, what kind of a dynamic you have where you appreciate each other's feedback. And if something does not work out, it didn't work out. That's fine. Next time, let's make sure it works out.
Yeah, I feel at the end of the day, as long as we enjoyed that trip and we just come back with happy memories, I think that's the best part of it. Like even if we didn't capture as much content as we thought we would, it's fine. I think for us, the goal is not to capture a lot of content, but just to have a fun trip, which naturally reflects in the content that we put out when we are suggesting someone, you should definitely do this, but maybe this is not worth doing. And I think that's how the organic part of the content also comes out.
Beautiful. Yeah, because I think I wanted to reiterate this as well, that it's okay to have those setbacks and
Not do everything on the list.
exactly, and having challenges, having challenges in your initial career of your life will only help you learn things better, right? And that shouldn't be something that don't take that to your heart. Right?
Exactly. Like I keep telling him, like, it's okay to miss out on something. You're
Yeah.
always going to miss something, it's
Yeah.
impossible to get everything done. But
Welcome to the roast of Sankalp.
That's actually one of my favorite dialogues from one of the movies. I don't know, like if you've seen Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, where Deepika says, okay, bani kuch na kuch to chutega. So
Yeah.
that's something definitely like is powerful.
That resonates with
Resonates with me.
us.
So what's in the bucket for Jay and Sunkist in 2023 and going forward? What are you guys looking forward to? Is there any big goals that you have set coming up, or is that something you go on the? Is it on the go that you make decide milestones as such? And are there any success parameters that you have that you set for yourself? Okay, we reached this, and then we'll move on to the next thing, and in pursuit of happiness and those kind of tags that you may or may not have. If that's something you want to share with us, your goals for your future. Yeah.
I think we've never really set. I know like there are bloggers or like content creators out there who have a goal of like, I want to do all the 50 states by 2024 or 3. I'm going to do N number of countries or like national parks. But I think one of the biggest reasons why our audiences also connect with us is because we are just like you guys. We have a job. we have set number of 20-25 vacation days, and we are trying to, I mean, affordability is one thing, like all of these parameters, we are trying to juggle these and still get out and enjoy trip, a big vacation or a small local exploration. So with keeping that in mind, we've never really put goals like that we
Okay.
have to do something by the end of the year or anything like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that has gone a long way, because it's just what we naturally feel. We don't really need to put out goals in terms of like, I mean, there are experiences we definitely want to do, but there's no
Yeah.
deadline.
I mean, we definitely like have a running count of the US states that we've done and the national parks that we've done. And some things we did a number of them within a year, but like last year we just did 2, which is completely all right. As long as there's always something new for us to explore. And I think that's what's always exciting for us.
Yeah. This going to places and destinations and vacations as such, that is something we guys do, to get away from our 9 to 5, right? Has this become kind of a job for you, going to places, doing all these things, putting content and all of that? What do you guys do apart from that, to get away and, to regenerate and, get those energy back?
De-stress and relax. Yeah.
Because I feel like it's become a kind of a job, doing all these travel and stuff, right? What do you guys do? What does Chay and Sunkist do, in their lives apart from all this?
So we do have some shared hobbies. We both like dancing a lot. So whether that was in the last few months preparing for our own wedding dances, or in general, even before that, we've taken dance classes. And so that's something we really enjoy doing.
Our every Friday night is a movie night. So after this, we're gonna make some popcorn and have a movie. Put on a movie on Netflix. So that's something. So I think just like having these small things to look forward to, and just kind of breaking out of the routine and just going on a hike one day when we know that we don't have to worry about capturing content, because it's just some local place that we're exploring, and just trying new experiences even in our own backyard, like just going and trying out a new experience in DC. So I feel like just doing that as well helps us disconnect, but at the same time, I feel in the back of the mind, we know that we're content creators, so we may just take out our phone and capture it, because why not? Like, this is something that we're enjoying, so let's just like share it with others. So maybe someone else may also get an idea of coming here and exploring. So yes, at times it could feel like a job, especially when you're done with your general 9 to 5. And now you know that you have to put out a reel tonight, so you need to get to that. But I feel the beauty of being travel content creators for us is we get to relive our trips by looking at our content. And I feel like even if our YouTube channel doesn't have like a great reach in the future, I feel maybe 50 years down the line, I know that I'll be watching those videos.
Showing our kids or grandkids that this is how cool your grandparents were.
That is,
they might not agree, but at least we think we are cool. So, but yeah, she's right. I think just looking at the timeline, like when we put it, trying to edit something or like photos, we're like, what should we post? And we just like remember those memories, and like, you remember that happened? Like that was so crazy, and we cherish those moments.
That is incredibly beautiful, because for people looking at it from an outside world, it's like you guys are content creators. But for you guys and for us, it's the stuff that we put out on Instagram and all of those stuff, it's like a digital photo album, right?
Yeah.
Back then,
like a personal diary, but sharing it with everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's beautiful to look at it in the form of a video, right? Sunkist, does writing and all of that, but that's something you can read. But visually, if you look at your own, videos from the past, photos, and it can be funny.
Sometimes it can also delay posting, because you're just looking through the memories, and
I know, that happens. It gets
It's nice to put out a virtual album out there, because that's something our mom and dad, parents used to do, right? Physical copies of, all those stuff. And they used to share it with their, relatives and people coming to, to your house. But now we do it with the rest of the world. It's like a larger family as such. Right?
We have the privilege to do it now.
Yeah, that's nice. One last thing that we want to talk about is what keeps you going. Is there any mantra or a motto that any of you follow as such? Anything from India that you brought along with you, that
something from either of your families, or just
a mindset that that stuck with your heart, mind, and soul, that that keeps you going even today. Is there anything as such?
I think for me, it's something like, I think we as humans in general, I feel like we have the capacity to grow more than any other species on this planet. And there's every day is a new day to learn, and just evolving, like finding your passion, and it doesn't have to be one passion or like two passions, but it could just be like some things you love doing and doing them over and over again, or finding new things at different phases of your life. Just like being aware of that and acting on it over and over again just gives me joy, and that's kind of like my mantra, how I keep going about it.
Oh my
And
God. I think I just
philosophical.
fell in love with Sunkist because that's exactly what I believe in, because this is like so overrated to have one profession for the rest of your life, right? Why can't we have, get adjusted to the fact, right? Fact as, okay, this is what I want to do for this 1 year and for the next
And as a
few
human
years.
being,
Yeah.
like you said, we're always subject to change.
Exactly. It's unfair to have one profession
Or one passion
for the rest of your life. Why can't I do, okay, I'm doing podcast today, in this year, and I'll do YouTube content in another year, and I'm also doing my, full-time job, IT guy and whatever, that will always be there, but that's not who I am, right? People should get comfortable with the fact that, okay, you can do all other things that you want in your life, and it doesn't have to be one thing, right? This question of, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I do not want to see myself 5 years from now. It can be anything that can happen, right? You can't.
I think the less restrictions you put on yourself,
Exactly.
the more there is to grow.
The more there is the freedom to grow. Yeah. That is beautiful. I'm so sorry to take it away from you, but
I'd like nice to put.
No, you're right. Humans are multifaceted, and I think you just have to accept that and appreciate the variables that we have in our personalities. It's not just one, you're not defined by one thing.
Yeah, I feel I do get inspired by Sankish also most of the time, because he is so driven and motivated for Marrow exploring that he when you ask that OCD question, I had Sankish in my mind because he's always making sure that we put things perfectly, and as he said, like the quality content should go out there. So I think that's what we strive to do, and I feel as long as you're doing it out of passion and just for the drive of doing something different than your usual 9 to 5, I feel that's what will keep you going, and just be yourself and enjoy what you do. That's the best thing, best advice that we would give.
And thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
much.
This has been beautiful. I hope for your audience and people who are listening to it, it's kind of like a movie to, to look at Jay and Sunkist and their, journey so far, and, what all has happened in their life and what all plans they have in the near future. But thank you so much for your time. This has been incredible to talk to you guys and the opportunity that we had.
I'm also looking forward to more tips and tricks and hacks for couples traveling with a new baby.
Oh yeah. When time comes.
So you can all, even if you start putting out stuff now, it's going to be very helpful to us.
Definitely. Yeah, as I said earlier, every phase of your life, you're going to be experiencing something new, and if you want others to, benefit from it, we'll be happy to put that phase of our life out too as well. But thank you so much for reaching out and considering us to be part of your show, and we really enjoyed talking with you. And like all the conversation and everything. It's really fun to know there are people like us out there who also believe in so many, all of these principles that we believe in. So all the best to you guys.
Wishing the best for a beautiful couple.
Yeah, touch wood.
So we just finished another beautiful episode on our channel, and I want to ask Sankalp, what did you learn from today's episode?
Focus on the audience and the viewers that you have today. Don't create content focusing on an audience or targeted audience that has not even come to your page yet. This is for content creators. Stay true and do justice to people who have believed in you and are looking forward to those contents that you are about to put it out in the world. What did you take away from this episode?
I actually loved when Sunkist said that when Chai was sharing that Sunkist has always a plan A, plan B, and plan C, which speaks to their commendable organizational skills. As we all know, during travel, a million things can go wrong. So I think it's their preparedness, which I'm inspired by today.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us in today's episode. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.